All right, we're live.
Nice.
Cool. So, welcome everybody to the live Q&A for the free guitar online guitar class we're doing in collaboration with the Framingham Public Library. My name is Max Larson. I'm joined by Rahards.
Hey,
And today we're going to be talking about the most recent lesson, which was lesson 4. In that, you guys learned a couple of new chords, a couple new songs, maybe some
yeah,
strumming patterns, maybe a little bit of finger picking. So we're gonna
exactly.
just talk about um, some things related to that and answer any questions that you guys have. If you're watching this and you pop something into the chat, we'll get to that and answer that question. If you have anything that you guys, anything about guitar music at all, anything at all, doesn't have to be related to the music, the lesson. So. Um, and before we get going, remember that this week, tomorrow is the last day where you can get 15% off guitar strings. So if you've been playing this whole time, it's been 4 or 5 weeks, usually, it might be time to get some new strings on your guitar. You might not know this, but strings need to be replaced pretty frequently, especially if you play a lot. Rahards, how often do you replace your guitar
Uh,
strings?
at least once a month.
At least.
But at least, but that's the thing. Most touring musicians, they would probably replace it before every gig. And if
Yeah.
they're gigging every day of the month, they would probably change it every day.
Yes.
It really depends, but that's kind of the standard. Yeah.
Yeah, and it does make a huge difference putting new strings on a guitar.
Oh, yeah.
It feels better on your fingers. Like old corroded strings have the kind of rusty metal feel, and it's unpleasant to touch really. And then it just doesn't sound good. They don't hold
No,
a
not at
tune
all.
as much. So go to centermusic.com, use the promo code READ4, and you can get 15% off all of our guitar strings. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to the Q&A portion. Let's see. I don't know if I don't think anybody submitted any questions this week. That's okay. Doesn't mean
That
that
is
nobody
okay.
has, it doesn't mean that there aren't any questions out there. And there are plenty of things that we can talk about from the lesson that might provide some clarification on certain topics.
Absolutely.
So, can you tell us just do a quick review of what we all went over in the most recent lesson?
Yes, so we started with a couple new songs and a couple new chords. We actually took a look at a lot of new chords in this lesson.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um, we looked at the A and the E chord, and we also looked at the A minor and the E minor chord. So actually, no, people, we covered the A minor chord before, but the E minor chord is new.
Right.
So it's three new chords. People will be thrilled to know that in the next lesson, we're just going to take a look at just one new chord.
Okay.
So not too much. But the reason we covered so many new chords in this lesson is because they're all related. And we talk about that a
Hmm.
lot in the lesson. How can you better memorize these new chord shapes and things like that? For example, we took a look at the A chord.
Mm-hmm.
So if you followed my fingering guidance on the A minor chord, you'll find it very easy to do the A chord because what you do, you literally just put down your pinky there on that second fret on that second string. Exactly, and you
Ah,
got your A chord, right?
that's
So
neat.
it's very important to, I always tell my students to not just try to memorize the shapes and things like that, but kind of go deeper, use their own imagination of like, kind of, I guess just analyze what you're doing is
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying. Take a look at it. The A chord is not that hard. If you take your hand away from the guitar, as a lot of beginners do, and then they try to figure out the A chord from zero, like it's probably gonna take a while, and it might be a little awkward to have that
Yeah.
pinky in there. But if you can relate this knowledge to something that you already know, which is the A minor chord, which we kind of covered in some of the first lessons, it's pretty easy to just put your pinky down there, right? It's kind of
Right.
like a shortcut, a smart shortcut. And
Right.
we talked about the same thing for the E chord. Well, go to the A minor chord. The A minor chord is king in this lesson. We go to the A minor chord, and then all we do is just put it one string up we lift the same exact fingering, just lift the one string up, and we have our
Yeah.
E major chord. And if we want to get E minor, even easier, we lift one finger up. We don't need it.
Oh,
That's our E minor chord.
super simple.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's important to relate what you're learning now to previous knowledge.
right. Helps you remember things by making those connections. I remember when I was learning how to play guitar in the beginning and I was kind of teaching myself a lot, that A chord was one of the hardest ones to do. Just getting my fingers in that space, I was like,
Yeah,
that
that's
is
true.
impossible. No one can do that. And I cheated by just barring
Oh, that's cool.
like that, you know?
Yeah.
But then if you do, I mean, you can do that, people, but if you do, you're also missing out on that high E, that high open E that you would get if you played the A chord the correct or proper way, I guess. Yeah.
I suppose so.
Yeah. But there are so many different ways to play it. Like I like your fingering of using the pinky. I've never actually seen that before, but that makes a lot of sense.
That's true. I guess a lot of people learn it using fingerings 1, 2, 3. Um, I don't know. How did you learn it?
I learned it first by doing the bar, and then I tried to do 1, 2, 3, and it never stuck. And then I was learning James Taylor song. I was learning Fire and Rain, and he has some really interesting chord fingerings, and so it's kind of weird. But I do second finger on the D string, first on the G, third. So you get the
It's the
yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So I learned that I just drilled that song so many times that now my fingers just prefer that A shape.
That's interesting. That's quite unorthodox in a sense.
Yeah.
But it fits the song. That's how you play the song. Though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyways, so yeah, I love what you the way you approach the different chords, especially the shape of A minor and how you just drop it down and it's E major.
Yep.
And that was I remember one thing that always stuck with me when I was beginning to play guitars with bar chords, how those two shapes appear so frequently when you're playing bar chords. Like if I play an A bar chord, and this is not in the lesson. Sorry, I'm kind of deviating a bit, but you still you use that E shape, and then for if I want to play an A bar chord, and then if I shift that up like I would with the same shape, kind of like I'm playing an A minor, but move it all the way up and bar it, then I'm playing a D minor. And I don't know, it's just one of those little quirks about the guitar that always
they call it the cage system, where you have these basic open shapes, right? You have G, C, D, A, and E, and the idea is exactly what you did here, is that cage, because these are the 5 open chords: C, A, G, E, D. And there's that's exactly what you just showed, that this idea. And we actually talk about barring a little bit. We do an easier version of the F chord in the next lesson. So watch out for that.
Ooh, that barred F chord is
I know
a real demon.
But yeah, what you said, that's absolutely correct. That's one of the nice things about guitar, that once you learn and you get very, very comfortable with these open shapes, and then you master the bar thing, then you can literally just move it anywhere up and add the bar, and get any other chord that you might want. E flat, here we go, B, here we go, all that stuff. That's very true.
That was a game changer for sure.
That's what I keep telling my students. You know, the beginning is hard. You got to get those fingerings down for those open chords and all that stuff. And then the bar chord is a pain in the ass. Sorry for the language.
It's okay.
But once you get past those beginning hurdles, guitar opens up so much. You
Yeah.
know, you just have to kind of, you know, fight through those first little uh, things that might be troublesome. But once you get over them, it becomes a whole lot more fun.
Yeah. Once you get over that barrier, it, just like you said, it opens up so much more and becomes enjoyable and not. It sounds good, and you
Yeah,
can enjoy
exactly.
it. Like, oh, I'm actually playing real songs now. This is great. So, word of encouragement, everybody. Stick with it.
Exactly.
You'll get there. We promise. Just practice.
Exactly. Like I say at the end of my lessons, keep practicing.
Just practice.
Yeah.
The strum pattern for Halo is pretty cool. Pretty interesting. Let me share that screen real quick so we can. Halo. Great tune selection, by the way. Yeah, it's one of those things where I was breaking it down and counting really slowly and trying to count with it, and it really helps, in my opinion, to count the 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and when you're and strum along, and take it really slow, just to get it kind of underneath your fingers and in your muscle memory, and then you can speed it up. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts about that strum pattern or just strumming in general?
I would say what we talked about a lot last time, the counting, what you mentioned, that's absolutely key. But another thing, that's the advantage of having YouTube and having these videos, that you can go back to these sections in the video where I explain it, because I don't just explain it. I take the time to really go through it. So if you want that, if you need that guidance of a step-by-step going together with me, almost like if we're in real life, just go back to those parts in the video, rewind them, rewatch them, and follow along. I'm pretty specific about all the counting, and I go through all of the strumming patterns very slowly at a pace where you can really, he said down, okay, down. So
you have time to process everything.
Exactly. So I would really advise, first of all, what you said, slow it down, count with it, and slowly pick it up. And the second thing, go back to the video, use the advantage of the video, and just do it with me together with the video very slowly. That's going to help too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then finger picking, man, that's a whole nother ball game. Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
The thumb and with guitar, your non-dominant hand, if you're a righty, you're going to be pushing down the frets, the strings with your left hand.
Interesting.
Your left hand gets
I'm actually a lefty.
Oh.
But I play right-handed guitar.
Oh, you're one of those guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Your non-dominant, or in your case, your dominant, whichever your fretting hand gets a lot of work, I feel like. And you're getting it to do, you're trying to teach your hand to do things that it is not, you've never had it, it's never done these things in your life, I'm assuming. And then your dominant hand, in your case, your non-dominant, your strumming hand, when you introduce finger picking, it's like you're getting a double workout, because then you're teaching the thumb is playing the bass notes, and then the pointer, middle, and ring finger are assigned to the top 3 strings, and it's a good. I feel like when I was first learning how to finger pick, I could feel my brain working a lot, just like the pattern, making sure that you pick with the right finger on the right string at the right time.
That's very true.
That's a good mental workout. Guitar is good for the brain. Music is
It
good for your
is.
brain. Keeps you
Absolutely.
young. Anybody out there watching, keep playing because it'll keep you young. So, do you have any, from the instructor's point of view, any advice to people who are um, trying out finger picking for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, uh, feel free to rewind the video to go
Mm-hmm.
through it again slowly. But um, there's a reason why we're starting with just the simple, just thing, 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 all the fingers in order, right? Thumb, index, middle, ring. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a reason why I ask my students, at least for the first few weeks, to keep their fingers just on the top three strings, because it's very confusing when you just start out with guitar and you start with finger picking. First of all, it's super confusing of which finger does what. That's the first thing. The second thing, well, I have more strings than I have fingers, so where do I put them? And if you start very loosely, just follow that order and do it on any strings. It doesn't really help. It just makes
Right.
students more confused. So I
Right.
would really, really, at least in the beginning, stick very rigidly to that idea that these three fingers, top three strings.
Yes.
They're not gonna leave it. That way you have a clear point, like a clear place where you plug the string and you return to it. You know, you
Right.
don't have to search where you're going to put it on other strings. We're going to worry about that later, much later. First
Right.
off, just start with positioning your fingers there and in this one stable spot where you can
Yeah.
actually control them. And again, I didn't exactly mention that in the video, but if you need to slow it down and take it, a step back, do it without any chords. Just do
Mm.
it open strings.
Open
Just
string. That's good
maybe
advice.
pick thumb open E and then the top three strings. It's going to be actually a nice version of a E minor chord. It actually is kind of a chord.
Yeah.
Um, and it's
It's like
also
nothing else matters.
exactly. Ah, yeah, I haven't played that in such a long
That was one of the first songs I learned on guitar.
time. Yeah. So yeah, check out Nothing Else Matters.
Oh, it's a
It's
great,
finger picking. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That intro, it's
So
awesome.
just slow it down, keep it real simple. If you're having trouble even with the thumb, maybe at first even don't think about the thumb. Just get these three fingers working.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, just kind of get comfortable because it's very true. And I actually realized this very recently, after I've been teaching for a while, and it didn't quite click for me previously that exactly what you said. Our hands move in ways they have probably never moved. Our fingers move in ways they probably have never moved before if we start guitar or any instrument for that matter.
Right.
So it might seem like, oh, he can do it. He can move his fingers like this, and almost everybody picks up their hands and can move their fingers like this.
Yeah.
But there's much more to it than that. When you put your fingers down on the strings, it's not just this motion. We involve a lot of the bigger muscles too throughout our hand here,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the finger motion. If you actually track, how I don't know the name for
The
these things in
tendon.
English. The tendon, yeah, like the strings that come here, like
Yeah.
if you check them out how they move, the whole motion goes all the way up to here,
Yeah.
even, and in
Yeah.
certain guitar motions even up to your shoulder, which is
Mm.
not advised, but sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
And so you really are training your hand to move in a new way. So
Yeah.
finger picking often is very hard for beginners, but again, just slow it down, um, rewind a video, stick to the guidelines. That's very important. The more organized you make your practice, the less confusing it's going to be.
Yeah.
Um, so, just take it slow and
Yeah.
follow the steps.
I think I made the mistake when I was first learning guitar of not knowing or ignoring the advice or the teaching of these three fingers correspond with these three strings,
Mhm.
and I would, like you were saying, just kind of randomly just finger picking whatever string with whatever finger happened to be there, and there was just no rhyme or reason to it. You know, mimicking songs that I was listening to or was trying to learn, but I had no idea what I was doing. And then it wasn't until I I picked up a book on like blues finger picking several years ago, and they stressed that point. And since then, it has made playing any other finger picking song so much easier because you don't have to guess. It takes out the guesswork of, which finger do I use to pluck which string. It just, I think it's great that you're bringing it up early for people who are beginning guitar, because getting that concept just in your mind, and even if you don't dive into finger picking right away, now just knowing that there is a specific way to do it can save you a lot of time.
That's very true.
A lot of bad music.
Yeah. and of course it's like I don't just stick to these three strings, and like you start venturing to different things, but in the beginning, yes, that's very, very important. You need to keep it organized. I know sometimes it feels like it's a lot of information. Keep your fingers there, keep your thumb there, and do this and do that, and but if you really take a deep breath, you have the lesson plans and everything, take a look at what's being talked of. You don't have to remember everything at once, and just take it step by step. Sometimes this extra information, if you just take a step back and look at it, is actually there to help you, help you not make mistakes and help you not run into things which might cause trouble later on.
Right. Yep.
Absolutely. One thing that I can mention about the songs real quick is some people who might be already playing them and feeling comfortable strumming them, they might put on the original recording of the song and try to play it together. And they will run into a problem there because it's not going to be in the same key. For lesson purposes, I have put the songs in an open position chord, kind of in a different key basically than the original.
Yep.
To make it easier for you to be able to play those songs on open strings.
Right.
Now, if you wanted to play these songs together with the original, I just want to mention this so there's no confusion about this. If you wanted to play these songs in the original key, like the recording, well, either you have to master the bar chords and the pace system that we talked about earlier, or you can get a handy little thing. Exactly. You can get a
People
little
are like, what is that?
So a capo, if you notice, there's this is what we call the nut of the guitar. Essentially what you're doing when you're barring chords is you're pushing these frets, like for example an A minor chord, and you push them up 2 frets, you get the B minor chord. But what happens with the open strings, right? We had the nut doing the open strings. I often encourage people thinking of this part of the guitar as another fret, an invisible fret, which we don't play. This fret is already fret 0. This fret is already played by the guitar itself, by the nut.
Right.
But if we move this chord up, what we have to do is we also have to move this invisible fret up. And it becomes not invisible. Now we replace this nut thing with our fingers.
Yes.
So a capo does exactly that for you. It moves the fret 0. It moves the fret 0 up. So for example, I don't remember the exact key. Let me listen to a little bit. Okay. So for the Beyonce song, for Halo, we're going to put the capo on the second string, on the second fret.
Okay.
And if you play those chords, you're going to be in the same key as the recording.
Nice.
So just
good trick.
If people want to just jot that down, for the Halo song, that's going to be second fret capo. If you manage to get a capo. And I have to take a quick little listen to Still Haven't Found You're Looking For. I'm looking at a really weird McDonald's ad right now.
While you're looking at that, I'll just remind everybody, if you need to get a capo, go to centermusic.com. All right. SetterMusic.com/shop. And we got capos for sale. Buy them.
Exactly. And just as you finished saying that, I figured out the key for
All right, cool.
I still haven't found. So for I still haven't found what I'm looking for, you're gonna wait. I actually just
Whoops.
forgot. Okay, here we go. You're gonna want to put your capo on the fourth fret.
Fourth. I like the
Yeah.
fourth fret capo.
And so on.
Cool.
And you're gonna be in that way. If you use the capo, you'll be able to use the same chord shapes and jam along with the original recording as well.
Nice. Super handy. And there are a lot of songs that are written, or the artist wrote them and played them with a capo.
That's
so
also
if you get a capo, you can play a lot of different songs.
Yeah.
I don't know, Bob Dylan.
Oh yeah,
Capos all day.
that's true. It's an interesting thing with capos, if I may. Musicians are, a lot of guitarists are like, oh, you use a capo? Oh, you don't know
Yeah.
how to play.
Yeah,
And
the purists.
and I have to say, for a long time, I was like that too.
Oh,
But
what
it
changed
wasn't
your mind?
Joni Mitchell.
Oh,
changed my mind.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, I realized that it's true. If you well, first of all, I'm talking from the perspective of a professional musician, of a professional guitar player who
Yeah.
can go into the studio and you put anything in front of that person and, I can play it, you can play it. From that perspective, yes, you kind of, just in terms of skill, you want to be able to do all of this stuff in any key without a capo, bar chords,
Yep.
and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
But I realized that there's a certain quality to that open string sound,
Oh, yeah.
and you just can't get that with your fingers. You can try to imitate it, but the sound changes when you fret something with your fingers. Just physically, the sound gets different as soon as you put your hand on the fretboard.
Right.
So there's certain sounds and certain things that you just can't get with a bar chord. And if you want to put that in a certain key, well, you're going to want to use a capo. And I realize that it's not just the easier way, it's a musical choice too. And then again, that's from the perspective of a professional musician. If you just want to play the guitar as a hobby and just want to strum a few chords with, play a few songs with your friends and things like that, yeah, I mean, go for the capo.
Yeah. There's no judgment.
Absolutely.
We're all learning. No room for judgy guitar purists in the world of beginners. We're all just trying to learn and have fun. And if you use a capo, you cannot, I don't think you can play Here Comes the Sun without a capo.
That's true. Yeah. No, you can't. Yeah. That's another musical choice, I guess, that you just have to do to play it truly. Play it like that. Oh.
Yeah.
It's true. Cool. What was it, 7th fret?
Yeah. Way up there.
Been a while since I played all those songs. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Still got it.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Well, we're just about at a half hour, and we've covered a lot, pretty much the entire, what you covered in the lesson. So any other thoughts or things that you'd like to share with everybody before heading into the next week?
Keep it slow and keep it going. Just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, keep on keeping on, brothers and sisters.
Just keep practicing, and if you're serious about this, or even if you're not serious about this, we talked about practicing very sparsely but regularly. So when you're a beginner, picking up your guitar for just a minute even to go through certain chords. But if you have that minute maybe every 2 or 3 hours, that doesn't seem like a lot of time, but it works very, very well. So just keep practicing, keep picking up your guitar. Next week we're going to talk about the bar chords, where gonna talk about the F chord, and I mean, the big F chord looks pretty intimidating. Your
Ooh.
whole first finger goes all over these strings, but
How do I
we
do
take
that?
a
Oh!
exactly, but we take a look at a easier version of the F chord too, which is, again, when I say easier, there's no, it doesn't mean that it's better or worse.
Right.
It's just a different version and a different sound. So we take a look at this kind of version, which is a minimized version of
Yep.
the full barred version of that F chord, which should be easier because you play only with 2 bars. The only thing I want to say to people going into this next lesson
Mm-hmm.
is that just take it slow. And as I meant, as they will see, as you will see in the lesson, I mentioned that it's okay if it buzzes. It always,
Right.
especially with bar, some people are very lucky and they never have a buzz with open chords.
Yep.
Most people have a lot of problems with buzz on open chords as they,
Yeah.
start learning guitar. With that being said, everybody has buzz when they start playing the
Yes.
bar chords. So
Yes.
it's normal, it's good. Don't try to make it perfect. We're
Sorry.
not trying to be perfectionist here. We're taking a look at 2 new songs. We Don't Talk Anymore by Charlie Puth, and we also take
Cool.
a look at Let It Be by Beatles.
Oh, perfect.
Absolutely great songs to play with
Awesome.
your friends and family and stuff like that. Even if it buzzes, don't worry about it. It's gonna take time for the buzz to pass away. Just pass to go on, to go away.
Yeah.
Just go into the songs, even if you can't fully do the F chord yet. Just do the songs anyway to the best of your ability.
Mm.
Keep having fun with it. Don't worry about it. If you keep
Yeah.
practicing, it's gonna go away.
Yeah. I think the buzzing is a really good point, and that's something that I forgot about when that happened to me. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine it's because if the finger muscles aren't strong enough, they're not pushing the string down as much as they need to in order to get a clean sound. In other words, if you're just kind of pushing the the string down on the fret, you might have some buzzing or just ghost notes, right?
Yeah.
Or it could also be buzzing could also be caused by if a finger is touching another string that it shouldn't be.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think just the more that you practice those chords, like one chord at a time, get the shape there, push the strings down so that every string is being pushed down as much as you can without, struggling too much, and then strum and try to get a clean sound without any buzzing.
Yep. Absolutely. Everything you said is correct.
Okay, good.
The only thing I might add is that yeah, it's finger strength and just being aware of what you're doing on that guitar. Well, you already said that, your finger might be touching another string, which is not supposed to, which might cause a buzz. A cool, just really quickly, a cool little
Sure.
trick that you can do. Um, at first, it seems very hard. It feels like you have to press very hard. Um, One of the things when I first went to Berkeley that I had to relearn about my technique is I realized that I'm pushing too hard.
Ah,
And in the beginning, it might not be as relevant because your finger muscle strength might not be as strong anyway. But a cool little trick to try out is, I don't know, for example, just second fret, third string. Yeah. So what I want you to do is lift your finger away and then kind of just put it on the string, but don't press down. Just put the finger on the string where you would press it down, just barely touching. And then without adding too much pressure, too much strength, just slowly apply pressure, very slowly, gradually increase the pressure that you're applying. And more often than not, if you do this correctly, more often than not, what you'll realize is that you don't have to press that hard to get a good sound.
right.
Get
That's
it
pretty
clean.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
never
And you
did
can
that
go through
before.
this process with chords as well. Where you have your bar chord, and your first instinct is like, oh, really clench
Yeah.
it, and your thumb is going there,
Yeah.
and be careful. You don't want to hurt your hand. but you can do the same thing. You know, it might be harder with the bar chord, but again, you know, like no sound. You know, how much do you really have to press down to get a good sound? More
Right.
often than not, you'll find that you've been pressing too hard,
Mm.
which is working kind of counterintuitively because you think that your fingers are not strong enough, so you're pressing harder. But
Yeah.
the actual problem is that you might be overforcing it.
Interesting.
So, you know, just keep in mind that these two things. First off, um, just keep practicing.
Excuse
Bless
me.
you. Just keep practicing, and it's gonna in time it's gonna get better. Your fingers will develop muscle strength. And second thing, yeah, maybe if you're watching this, go through this, try it out. You know, do a little science experiment. You know, this is not even that much music; it's more about physics in a sense.
Right.
How much pressure do you really need to get that string to sound clean?
Yeah. How many pounds per square inch of pressure will it
Yeah.
take applying my finger to this string to produce a tone? I don't know how you'd
Exactly.
measure that, but yeah, that's really cool. Neat. Cool. Well, if you liked this video, please check out the other ones. We have another lesson coming out this Wednesday. It's 5 of 6. And then the final class will be released the following Wednesday. And then after that, we're going to do kind of like a live hangout with all of you guys, all the students who've been watching these videos, where you'll get a chance to hop on a Zoom call with Rahards and I, kind of like this. It'll be a chance for you to meet the other people who've been doing this class. You know, you'll get a chance to introduce yourself, talk about guitar. You can share your experience with learning the guitar, ask any questions. You know, if there's things that you've been struggling with, maybe you need a little more help. We'll be doing that in a couple weeks. So check your inbox for instructions on how to be a part of that in the next week or two. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye. And I'm gonna wait. Cool. All right.